You are welcome to the session of hydraulic machines, and the topic of our today's discussion is the requirement of air chamber during the operation of a positive displacement pump. And by identifying the requirement, rather having an understanding of the requirement of air chamber, which is an essential component of the PD pump for its operation. To be precise, for its smooth operation, we will try to find out one numerical problem, rather we will try to solve one numerical problem considering the air chamber as an integral part of the operation of positive displacement pump. So, now today before coming to that numerical problem, what we need to discuss here is the requirement of air chamber. So, you have so if I draw the schematic of the PD pump. So, I am writing positive displacement pump. Okay. So, if I try to draw the schematic, and this is connected say this is the linear displacement, this is the location A and this is the final location B of the this is crank radius R, right. So, if I erase it, so this is R, this angle is theta, okay, and this is the say total displacement. So, say initially the crank location is over here, I mean that is what discussed. Now, let me draw the what I can say that is important. This is the suction valve and this is the air chamber. Similarly, we have delivery valve, okay, and I am using different color to. So, this upper space or top space is filled with air. So, top portion of cylinder, this is also, so this is air, this is also air. Okay. Now, So, say I mean this is basically you can see schematic depiction of the PD pump. I am not going to describe all parts again, we have understood. Now, you can see that two air chambers are connected. One is connected to the suction side of the pump, another cylinder air chamber is connected to the delivery side of the pump. So, you can understand that here the suction air chamber which is connected to the suction or suction pipeline is just below the suction valve. So, this is suction valve and this is delivery valve, and the air chamber connected to the delivery side is just connected immediately after the delivery valve, we will discuss. So, now question is, see here I mean what we can say at location A when piston is at the inner end of the cylinder and this piston will be having reciprocating motion and which is definitely induced or developed by the rotary motion of the crank, and that is converted using this crank connecting rod mechanism. So, if the location of the piston initially at A and then finally it is going towards B at the end of the suction stroke. So, this is at the beginning of the suction stroke piston is at A and final location is at B when piston is towards the end of the delivery stroke, and during which if the linear displacement. So, you can see the crank was initially at this location, now crank has traversed a distance angular displacement by this angle theta and it has moved to this location. So, if the r is the total distance. So, this is basically crank displacement, right. So, this r is the crank displacement. Okay. What we can write? We can write r equal to small r plus r cos 180 minus theta. So, minus r cos theta, right. So, small r is the crank radius, small r is the crank radius. Okay. So, you know that if the crank is rotating at an angular velocity omega and if the time taken for this movement of the piston from position A to position B is t, then we can write this is nothing but r minus r cos omega t, right. So, you can understand now our discussion today is to identify, to justify, to first to identify the requirement of air chamber and then we need to find out the reason behind it. So, you can understand when piston is about to start its journey, when piston is about to start its journey at the beginning of the suction stroke, inside the cylinder pressure will fall and that is the reason for which liquid will move from the suction tank into the cylinder, right. So, initially when piston is moving towards the outer end of the cylinder, because of the acceleration effect we have seen that inertia pressure will be there, right. So, now if we try to draw the indicator diagram. So, this is P and this is volume. What we have seen, so if this is the atmospheric pressure, so this is P atmospheric and we have seen that this is the simplified diagram and we have discussed that simplified diagram does not take into account two important effects, and that is why if I now try to represent, if we try to represent these two effects using different color, say this is the inertia effect due to acceleration, and then this one, and finally if we superimpose the frictional effect, it will be like this. Similarly, this will be the inertia effect, and if we superimpose the frictional effect, it will be like this. Okay. So, this is the modified indicator diagram we have discussed, we have understood. Okay. So, you can understand that curve drawn using blue line is nothing but the effect due to fluid friction, which follows the Darcy equation. Okay. And the curve drawn using this what I can say red color, which is the modification due to the inertia effect. So, you can understand at the beginning of the suction stroke, pressure falls further. So, eventually what we can see, eventually pressure inside the cylinder should be below the atmospheric pressure, which is acting on the liquid surface or liquid level in the suction tank. So, because of this reduction in the pressure inside the cylinder at the beginning of the suction stroke, you can understand large pressure difference will be created, and because of this large pressure difference, liquid will have acceleration through the suction pipeline as well as some part of the liquid mass that is there inside the cylinder. Try to understand. So, when pressure falls below the atmospheric pressure at the beginning of the suction stroke, that part we have understood, considering pressure due to inertia pressure concept. So, because of a substantial reduction in the pressure inside the cylinder at the beginning of the suction stroke, larger pressure difference will create sufficient velocity of the liquid to have, and liquid will have liquid will try to move with a higher velocity towards this cylinder. So, what is the meaning? That means liquid will have acceleration both in the suction pipeline as well as the part or the mass of the liquid that is there inside the cylinder also will experience the acceleration effect. What we can see further, as the piston traverses towards the outer end of the cylinder, right, volume increases, this volume is the volume of the liquid inside the cylinder. So, you can see when piston traverses from the inner end of the cylinder to the outer end of the cylinder, during the process pressure again pressure goes off. So, pressure is trying to be closer to the atmospheric pressure, right. Pressure inside the cylinder here is very close to the atmospheric pressure. What does it indicate? It indicates that the driving force is now getting reduced. Driving force for what? Driving force for the to occur the flow from the suction tank into the cylinder. As a result of which, what will happen, that towards the end of the suction stroke, liquid both in the suction pipeline as well as liquid mass in the cylinder will have deceleration, right. So, acceleration and deceleration we have understood. The same thing will be there even when delivery stroke will start. See, you can see at the beginning of the delivery stroke, this is the inertia pressure. So, suction valve is closed, piston is creating a thrust on the liquid mass that is there inside the cylinder, as a result of which liquid mass inside the cylinder as well as in the delivery pipeline will be having acceleration, right. And at the towards the beginning of the delivery stroke, what we can see, pressure again falls. So, what will happen, that the liquid mass in the cylinder as well as in the delivery line will have deceleration. Now, because of this acceleration deceleration, it is very difficult to have a very smooth or uniform flow rate through the pipeline, right. Not only that, so first is that this pressure fluctuation will lead non-uniform flow through the suction and delivery pipes, right. Number 2, which is very important. So, you have understood that because of this acceleration and deceleration, which is nothing but due to the pressure fluctuation inside the cylinder. So, there will be a pressure fluctuation inside the cylinder and the result will be the acceleration and deceleration effect both in the suction line and delivery line, right. So, because of this we will not get uniform flow rate. So, it will be having kind of fluctuation flow rate, a fluctuating flow rate. Number 2, which is very important, in fact, we have discussed this part, that in the suction pipeline, try to understand, rather if we try to focus at least this particular part. Say if I use different color again and say I am using this part. So, if we try to focus on this particular regime, so focusing in this regime, focusing on this regime. Okay. If we try to focus over here, what we can see that at the beginning of the suction stroke we have understood that pressure inside the cylinder will be very less, I mean it will be significantly lesser than the atmospheric pressure, and that is what is important at least to have a flow, right. So, you can understand the pressure which is acting here in the liquid surface, that is the pressure acting on the liquid surface in the suction tank is the atmospheric pressure. So, higher the pressure drop inside the cylinder, more is the driving force and more will be the flow velocity, right. So, when pressure falls inside the cylinder, that will eventually transmitted, that information will eventually transmitted to the suction pipeline. If pressure in the suction pipeline falls below the vapor pressure at that corresponding temperature, we have discussed in greater detail that separation or cavitation will occur, So, our objective should be that at the speed is definitely an important or key factor. So, at the speed at which the piston is having this reciprocating movement, that is piston is operated, that is the critical factor. But when we are designing, because again we have seen that speed is important factor for the discharge that we will be getting. So, we have seen that the flow rate which will be delivered by the pump, it does not depend on the pressure, right. So, basically it depends on the rotational speed of the crank. So, to have sufficient flow rate depending on the requirement, we have to select the rotational speed of the crank, and at that speed if pump runs, then there will be pressure drop inside the cylinder. Now, question is, if the pressure drop is very close to the vapor pressure of the liquid at that temperature, right, cavitation might occur. So, we should take preventive measure not to allow cavitation inside the I mean in the suction pipeline. At the same time, pump should be operated at a reasonably higher rotational speed to ensure substantial amount of flow rate depending on the requirement. So, if the pressure falls, I mean if we do not take any preventive measure to stop cavitation, then maybe we can allow the omega to increase the flow rate, but that increase in omega will have negative impact as the pressure inside the cylinder as well as in the suction pipe line might fall below the vapor pressure. So, question is, this pressure fluctuation may lead to flow separation. or cavitation in the suction line. Okay. So, this is very important. Question is, so I think you have understood what is the key message. Key message is to obtain desired flow rate, omega should be very not very high, but omega should have a particular value. If we increase omega, flow rate will be high, and that is what is needed. Now, at that rotational speed of the crank, you can understand higher the omega, higher will be inertia pressure at the suction line, and now at that pressure we need to ensure that the cavitation will not occur, and that is why these air chambers are given. So, this is all about I mean for the preventive measure of the cavitation in the suction line. So, suction line what is done try to understand. So, I mean this is the suction chamber, right. So, this is the suction chamber, liquid is coming from the suction chamber. Now, when piston is having acceleration at the beginning of the suction stroke, right, pressure falls. So, liquid on account of that significant pressure drop inside the cylinder, as we have discussed, liquid will try to move with a higher velocity through the suction pipeline into the cylinder, and when liquid is moving, then it will be having higher flow rate on the top of that average flow rate that is expected. So, when the liquid is moving through the suction pipeline, there is a average flow rate, but on account of the higher pressure drop, liquid will try to move with a higher flow rate, rather with a flow rate which is higher than the average flow rate. Now, that will lead to non-uniform flow rate, right. What is done? So, the liquid will now, we are having another arrangement. So, when the pressure drops significantly, I mean inside the cylinder, rather below the atmospheric pressure, when pressure inside the cylinder is significantly less than atmospheric pressure, which is quite expected during the beginning of the at the beginning of the suction stroke, higher pressure difference will allow liquid to move through the suction pipeline with a flow rate which is higher than the average flow rate. Then there will be kind of fluctuation in the flow rate. To arrest that, what is done? Some part of the liquid will now move, that this is the suction pipeline and the air chamber is connected just below the suction valve. So, this is the suction valve. So, what will happen that liquid will move and a part of the liquid will first go to the air chamber, and the air chamber top is having air. So, the liquid will compress the air, and as if that amount of flow energy is stored in this compressed air. So, try to understand. So, what we have understood, that on account of this higher pressure drop, liquid will try to move through the suction pipeline with a flow rate, that flow rate is higher than the average flow rate. What will happen So, it will lead to the fluctuation. At the beginning of the suction stroke we will be getting higher flow rate, at the end of the suction stroke we will be getting less flow rate. So, this is quite kind of fluctuating flow rate, and that is not expected. So, what will happen that part of the liquid will try to compress the air which is there in the air chamber, and while compressing the air some amount of energy will remain stored. Now, when the pressure inside the cylinder is close to atmospheric pressure at the end of the suction stroke, then the pressure difference will fall between the cylinder and the suction chamber, tank, and on account of this rather I can say relatively lesser pressure difference, liquid velocity through the suction pipeline will be reduced, which in turn will reduce the flow rate through the flow rate to the pump. At that time what will happen that maybe pressure inside the cylinder has reduced, that effect will be conveyed to the suction pipeline further down to the suction pipeline, but the stored energy of the which is there inside the chamber, that will allow the liquid to move and to compensate that flow rate. So, as if we are getting uniform flow rate, though pressure has fall, pressure difference has reduced, but that reduction in pressure difference will not have any impact on the flow rate that we are going to have. So, though pressure difference has reduced, but the energy that is remaining stored in the compressed air, that compressed air will now allow the liquid to move from the air chamber through this line into the cylinder. So, the pressure fluctuation can be avoided. So, try to understand that possibility of having cavitation can be avoided. On the other hand, we are also going to get uniform flow rate, which is very important for this particular case, right. So, this is very important to understand unnecessarily why do we need to have this special type of arrangement. See, in a system when we are going to have a special arrangement, it is, I mean, what I can say, cost is associated with that. So, not only the initial cost, but also the operational cost. So, the imposition of this particular device, that is air chamber, also the pipeline, initial cost is associated with this particular arrangement. Not only that, when the system will be in operation, operational cost also will be associated with this particular arrangement. So, we need to have proper justification behind it, that why do we need to have this special type of arrangement. So, for the suction pipeline, the sole objective is to dampen out the oscillation that will be there because of this difference in pressure inside the cylinder at the beginning and end of the suction stroke. Number 2, that this particular arrangement, see, question is, I mean, when the air chamber is connected, the problem of having cavitation can be avoided, cavitation or separation will not be there. So, it will save the suction pipeline, it will make the flow smooth. So, not fluctuating flow. So, this is all about the suction pipeline. Now, what about the delivery pipeline? So, now let us talk about suction side air chamber. Right. So, number 1, dampens out the fluctuating flow rate, okay, and cavitation or separation can be avoided, right. So, question is, the objective of having air chamber in the suction line is to dampen out the fluctuating flow rate, also to take a preventive measure against the expected undesirable phenomenon like cavitation. So, now I mean, if we talk about the air chamber in the delivery side, delivery. So, delivery side air chamber. So, let us first discuss about this particular aspect. So, again we need to understand during the delivery stroke, okay, during delivery stroke suction valve is closed, piston will now traverse from location B towards location A. I mean, this is the linear displacement. When piston is about to start its journey from location B to location A, pressure inside the cylinder will be high. Not only pressure inside the cylinder will be high, that pressure will now lift up the valve seat and the liquid will try to flow through the delivery line into the delivery tank. So, at the beginning of the delivery stroke, fluid mass inside the cylinder as well as in the delivery pipeline will have acceleration, and because of that this acceleration pressure or inertia pressure is there, right. So, this much amount you can understand, that is inertia pressure. That is due to acceleration, right. So, it is quite expected that at the beginning of the delivery stroke, flow rate through the delivery pipeline will be higher than the average flow rate, is not it. Now, what will be the consequence if when the piston is reaching at point A, that means at the end of the delivery stroke, what will happen, you know, that at the end of the delivery stroke suction valve is remaining closed, pressure inside the cylinder will reduced as and not only such cylinder, inside the cylinder as well as in the relevant pipeline. What is the relevant pipeline for this case? Delivery pipeline. So, delivery pipeline pressure will reduce, you can understand, that is the inertia pressure drop, that is because of the deceleration effect. So, again through the delivery pipeline flow rate will be reduced and flow rate will be lesser than the average flow rate. So, again what we can see, we are supposed to get fluctuating flow rate through the delivery pipeline. So, we need to dampen out, it is again not expected for the system in which this pump will be used. Okay. So, I mean in a system this pump will be installed essentially to supply a continuous, you know, constant flow rate, but what we can see, because of the inherent inevitable feature of the, you know, operational feature of this type of pump, we are expected to get fluctuating flow rate. So, we need to dampen out, and that is why air chamber is there. What air chamber will do? So, delivery side air chamber, see, when the piston is moving from location B to location A at the beginning of the delivery stroke, liquid inside the cylinder will experience, you know, higher force because of the thrust, and that force will create, or that force will lift up the valve seat of the delivery valve. So, liquid will move towards that. First what will happen, since the delivery, I mean air chamber is connected to the delivery line and which is very close to the delivery valve, first liquid will try to compress the air, and you can see when liquid is tried to move through the air chamber, since these two fluids are not miscible, so the movement of the liquid which is having high pressure will try to compress the air and the air will be at the top location. So, compressed air will have sufficient energy, stored energy. Now, when piston is reaching at location A, that is at the end of the delivery stroke, flow rate, pressure inside the cylinder will reduced, you can understand from this, from the drop in inertia pressure. Now, the reduction in pressure will also lead to a reduction in the flow rate, and the flow rate will be even lesser than the average flow rate. And what will happen that time? That time the energy stored within this air volume will give instruction to the liquid to flow in this direction, so that the flow rate will be maintained. Since this air chamber is connected to the delivery line and it is connected very close to the delivery valve, so when the flow rate through the delivery pipe will be less than the average flow rate, the stored energy within this air volume will give instruction to the liquid to go back, rather stored energy will push the liquid back to the delivery line and the flow rate will be maintained constant, right. So, this is what is the objective. So, essentially you can understand the objective of the air chambers, I mean having air chamber either in the suction line or in the delivery line. Sometimes the air chambers are placed both the suction line and delivery line, but the objective is to, you know, dampen out, I mean the sole objective of providing air chamber, or I can say air chambers, is to have, you know, uniform flow rate through the suction and delivery pipeline, to save the suction pipeline and delivery pipeline. Most importantly, you can understand, if we do not have this air chamber, the loss of pressure due to acceleration will not be utilized, right. So, maybe at the beginning of the delivery stroke we will be getting high flow rate, at the end we will be getting low flow rate, and that high flow rate I mean it will be giving oscillation. So, the air chamber absorbs high inertia pressure. So, I mean at the beginning of the delivery stroke high inertia pressure is absorbed by the air chamber. That energy in terms of, so the high inertia pressure which is used to which is absorbed by the air chamber in the form of internal energy, that energy will be utilized to supply continuous flow rate even when the pressure inside the cylinder is less, inside the cylinder reduced at the beginning of, at the end of the delivery valve. So, objective is again to maintain uniform flow rate through the delivery valve, delivery pipeline, delivery pipe. Number 2, absorbs inertia pressure which is high, I am writing in bracket high inertia pressure due to acceleration of the liquid at the beginning of delivery stroke. So, it is in the delivery pipeline there is no what I can say issue related to the reduction of pressure less than the vapor pressure, but we can have uniform flow rate which is very essential, and also the high inertia pressure due to acceleration will be absorbed by the air chamber. You can understand that high inertia pressure due to acceleration will be absorbed by the mass of air that is there at the top, and that energy will be released as and when needed. So, you try to understand, I mean we have discussed about the requirement of air chamber for the smooth operation of the PD pump or PD pump pumping system. So, now what we can see that as if the air chamber, whether it is there inside the suction tank, suction pipeline, or it is, so in the delivery pipeline air chamber must be there. Suction pipeline, depending on the rotational speed it may not be required. If rotational speed is not very high, depending on the requirement, this valve, this air chamber can be, I mean the requirement of air chamber may not be there, but or sometimes for the very smooth operation of the pumping unit, air chamber is connected both at the suction line as well as inside in the delivery line. So, you try to understand that the functioning of the air chambers. Basically the air chamber acts like a bank. So, when we have excess money we try to go to bank and we deposit money, and in again we go to bank to withdraw money when we need money for different other purposes. So, basically we can now try to find out similarity of the functioning of the air chamber with the with this example. What we can understand that when there is no need of high flow rate, I mean when the flow rate is very high on the top of the average flow rate, that flow will go to the air chamber, and as if the energy is, I mean the air which is accumulated or collected at the top of the chamber is having energy. That energy will now push the liquid to go back to the suction pipeline when there is a need. So, basically similar things can be similar what I can say explanation can be used for here for the air chamber that is there in the delivery pipeline. What we can see that beginning of this delivery stroke, pressure inside the cylinder is very high, that pressure is not required at that moment. High pressure inside the cylinder as well as in the delivery pipeline is not required at the beginning of the stroke, right, but that pressure will be required at the end of the delivery stroke. So, that is why this air chamber is acting just like a bank. So, at the beginning of the delivery stroke, a part of the energy is remaining stored by compressing the air, and that air is collected at the top of the chamber. When there is a need, so when pressure falls, pressure inside the cylinder as well as in the delivery pipeline is less than the requirement to maintain the uniform flow rate, uniform average flow rate, then the stored energy will now allow liquid inside the chamber to go back to the delivery pipeline, essentially to maintain the uniform flow rate. So, I mean we have tried to understand the requirement of air chamber for the smooth operation of the PD pump, positive displacement pump, without having any problem. If we do not have air chamber, then still PD pump can be operated, but the expected what I can say difficulties for its smooth operation, smooth functioning will be there. What are those? Probability of having separation, high probability of having fluctuating flow rate, and if we provide air chambers, whether it is depending on the requirement, if sometimes air chamber is connected to the suction line and delivery line, sometimes air chamber is connected to the delivery line only. So, depending on the requirement, system requirement, if we install, if we connect air chamber, then probability of having fluctuating flow flow rate, also the unexpected event of separation or cavitation can be avoided. So, with this I stop here today, and we shall work out one numerical problem on this particular aspect of the PD pump, and that we will take up in the next class. Thank you.